Okay. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. Today we are talking pendulums, pendulum magic, and had a little technical difficulties, so thanks for sticking with me. But anyhow, so I just wanted to quickly pop in here and talk about pendulums and what they are and how they work and how you can use them to your best advantage, because it's really it's a really great, useful tool, especially when you want to get some information and maybe you're not exactly completely tuned in to your subconscious. So hello ladies, thanks for watching. It's good to see you. Thanks for being patient. Sorry, my computer refused to go live, so I had to switch and pivot, and now I'm on my phone. So thanks for waiting with me. So I am curious, of the people that are on right now, put a 1 if you have a pendulum or have used one before or know what they are. 2 if you have no idea what a pendulum is at all. Hello, Melissa and Desiree. Hello. So 1 if you don't know what a pendulum is, you don't own one. 1 is if you have one, 2 is if you don't. So I'm just curious to sort of know where everybody's at, because pendulums are a really cool kind of thing. So 1, yeah, if you know what a pendulum is or you have one. 2 is if you don't have one, you don't know what I'm talking about. Again, just give me a little comment. I'm just curious to know where everybody's at. Awesome. So basically, what a pendulum is, it's a weight that's on the end of a string. Okay, and that's very simplified of what a pendulum is, but that's what it really is. And the reason that pendulums work is because they actually tap into your subconscious. Yes, 1s and 2s around. Love it, right? Because pendulums can be made out of just about anything, to be very honest. So I had posted in here a little while ago that if you were going to pop in and you didn't actually have a pendulum, that you could make one, right? If you have a string or a thread and you have a paper clip or some sort of crystal, or even like a necklace, right, that has a little drop pendant you can use. Honestly, you can use just about anything to create a pendulum. You can also buy them. There's like a wealth of them, and actually I have a whole bunch. And so like this was my very, very first pendulum. And basically it's a crystal bead that I got at Michael's. And a purple cord. And I made my own pendulum because, I don't know, I've had this for many years. This was my very first pendulum. I've had it for years and years. And to be honest, it works great. It works just as well, to be honest, as my other 2 pendulums. So I have a rose quartz pendulum that I bought, and I have a amethyst one as well that I have. But I will be very honest that this very first pendulum that I made all by myself works just as well. So if you have again, any of these sorts of things laying around, you can use it. And so as you can see, so on this one, I don't know if you can really see it, but I actually have little knots, and that's just really for my finger. Like, I know where I like it for how long. Usually it's kind of like, it's good to have it about 4 or 5 inches kind of like dangling down, but it's really up to you and how comfortable you are. So when it comes to choosing a pendulum, right? If you want to go buy one and you're like, I am not making that, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm not going to do it, right? That's fine. You can buy these at metaphysical stores. There's plenty. You can buy them online. I'm sure they have them on Amazon. And it's really just sort of, as far as like buying one, it's about personal preference. Like I said, I have one that's amethyst. I have one that's rose quartz, right? I will tell you, some people use theirs for different things. So some people will say, well, I use my rose quartz when it's a personal question and my amethyst when it's a spiritual question or whatever. Honestly, I'm lazy. I have one upstairs and one downstairs. So, and so I have one that's on my desk and one that's on my altar where I meditate. And so if I have a question that I'm humming and hawing about, I will pick whichever one is closest to me. But other people are more specific about that. And to anybody who's joined here in the last couple minutes, if you want, post a 1 if you have a pendulum or you know what they are. Post a 2 if you don't have any idea what I'm talking about. So how do pendulums work, right? Because I think that's really what the key is pendulums tap into our subconscious, right? So through the vibrations right, of our subconscious, it can actually give us the information that maybe we're blocking using our conscious mind. It's a really powerful tool. It really is. It's incredible sometimes the information that you can get using a pendulum. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend, again, you can just make a simple, that's all it is, really. Find a string, put something on it, done, right? So when you have one, you want to make sure you clear the energy off of it. Okay, so I've spoken in here before about energy clearing. And if you buy one at a metaphysical store, make sure you clear it. So you can either sage it, you can either run it underwater, you can use, I used to use Reiki on mine actually to clear energy off of it. I would use Reiki on clearing my decks of cards and everything. Now I actually use sage and stuff instead. But I used to use Reiki if I didn't have sage. I would just Reiki and be like, all right, I'm clearing all the negative energy off of this. So you can kind of use it. You can also just set your intention of going, no, I'm clearing this. And when you have it, I recommend once you've cleared it, hold it in your dominant hand, right? So you can technically use it in whatever hand that you like. But for me, I'm lefty, so I hold mine in my left hand. So just for it to allow it to like pick up your vibration and energy, I recommend holding it. Hello, Gina, and hello, Marlissa. We're talking pendulums this afternoon, so thank you for popping on. So I recommend just holding it in your hand for a few, moments, just to sort of really set the intention and getting your energy sort of attached to the pendulum. It's really important that you don't let other people sort of play around with your pendulums. It's kind of like you don't want their energy on your stuff, because pendulums are very, it's really important that those are yours. It's a magical tool and it's your tool. Right? So don't go letting other people like just, here, test this out, right? If you want to play with someone else from that standpoint, like give them something else to play with. Give them a paperclip on a string. Give them something else and say, here, this is yours, but this is mine. This is mine and I'm using it. So don't let other people just sort of willy-nilly use it. Because once you have it attuned to you, it's yours. Okay? So just make sure that you keep it and it's yours. That being said, it really taps into your subconscious. So when you have it, after you've attuned it to yourself, then you want to see how it responds to you. So it's kind of like setting it up. It's almost like, you have to set it up whether it is yes or no or maybe. And so for me, after I attune myself to my pendulum, then I will hold it. So you hold it. Okay, you can kind of technically hold it sort of any way you want. For me, I hold it like this. I dangle it over my, what finger is that? I don't know, second finger? And then I just kind of keep it loosely hanging there. That's it, right? And I let it dangle. So for you, find whether, again, if you want to hold it just like this, you can do that. It's up to you. For me, I hold it this way. Okay, just like that. And let it loosely dangle. Okay. So once you have that, you want to set it and figure out what direction, when it swings, means yes. Like what direction means no. What direction means maybe. So for me, when I'm using my pendulum, and I actually ask it every single time I use it, I always say, show me yes, show me no, show me maybe, right? Because I want to make sure it's still swinging the same way. Right? Because I don't use my pendulum very often, right? I really don't. If I'm stuck on something and I'm humming and hawing about, especially like I do this a lot when I'm weighing a big purchase, that I'm just like, am I being frivolous, or is this something that's really going to be useful for me in the future? So I often use it for very big decisions where I'm really humming and hawing and I want to tap into my subconscious. So I'll use it for that, but I don't use it all the time. You hold it like a T-Rex. Yes. Well, and thank you, Allison. That was what I was going to recommend. Now, I'm sitting on the floor right now because, again, I was going to do this at my computer and Facebook would not let me go live on my computer for some reason. I should have learned by now. But, yes, you want to place your elbow on a surface, right? And then you want to dangle it. And like I said, you can dangle it with your fingers. You can do it however you want. It's really up to you. But make sure your elbow is resting because you don't want to intentionally swing it a certain way, right? That is not, oh, I don't ask for maybe. That's a good thing. So for me, right? Yes is north and south, right? So for me, when I say show me yes, generally it moves north-south, right? And I'm saying that because it's just easier for me to say that other than side to side or up and down or whatever. So for me, it's north and south is my yes. My no, right, Carrie? Yes, exactly. My no is east-west. My maybe, right? And I'll see if it'll work because, again, this camera's up a little high, so we'll see if it works. But if I say, show me yes, and I'm not doing anything, and it will just start swinging back and forth. Do you see that? I'm not doing anything. It just is showing me yes, right? And then I'll say, okay, show me no. And it will change direction. And again, it's slightly misleading because, again, my arm is not on a table, but it shows me no. And then for my maybe, it is a counterclockwise circle. And then no, ask sometime later, like it's sort of like, I don't know, or ask sometime later, it will actually go counterclockwise. So clockwise is my maybe, counterclockwise is my check again later, like you're not really in the right mindset to be asking these questions. I also want to remind you that when you do use this, if you are intentionally going, am I going to meet the man of my dreams? And in your head, you're going, yes, 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 yes. Guess what? This is going to show yes, even if that's not actually true, okay? So you have to be very coming from a neutral place. When you ask your questions, they have different directions for their answers. Exactly, Carrie. Each one is a little bit different. And sometimes mine, especially like the ones that you make yourself, sometimes, especially if they have, like this one has kind of a weird, let's see if I can get in front of so this one has kind of like a weird angle. And so sometimes it'll show almost like a 25-degree angle or something. Or again, I didn't do well in geometry, but it'll show me at a certain angle and I'll go, okay, well, that's what yes is for this particular one, right? So it just really depends on which one you're using. So before I use each of mine, I will sit for one minute and just go, okay, show me yes, show me no, show me maybe, and I'm good, right? Because there's only one other option once we've exhausted those three. That being said, again, you have to really come from a neutral place when you start working with it. So if you've never had one and you've just created one with a paper clip and a piece of paper, like in a thread, whatever it is that you have, what you want to do is ask it to show you what your positive, negative, or that yes, no, maybe, and maybe check back with me, right? You don't have to always go there, but I kind of say, all right, well, if I'm not necessarily ready for the answer, it will show me a different direction. So I just want you to hold it up and you can say, show me yes, right? And it will swing. See? So this is my original one that I made, and this one loves me. Like, honestly, I've had it for years and it just really talks to me. My other ones do too, but this is an OG, right? It's an OG one. And so if I will sometimes, just to get it started, so because sometimes it just needs to be moved a little bit in order for it to, like, it's that inertia a little bit. And so sometimes I will say, okay, I'll swing it just a smidge and I'll say, okay, show me no. And then it will swing a certain direction for no. Okay. So you should do that with yours to get that initial reading, right? You can also use something like this. So you can create a circle with the little cross in the middle, and you can, with your mind, say, all right, I want to show left, right. I want to show up, down, right? And you can watch it go across the pattern. You can watch it go in a circle. That being said, you can try it with your eyes closed as well to sort of prove to yourself that it actually works, because it does. It's really cool. So when you're intentional about it, you can actually set where you want it to go. I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything. Okay, so you have your yes or no. So does everybody have, like, which way is your yes? I'm curious. So people in here who already have one or who've asked their pendulum, which is their yes? Like, what is their symbol for yes? I'll just say north, south, east, west, or circle, right? So just kind of put either north, east, or circle, maybe. We'll start with that. Because, again, for me, my yes is north. Oh, thank you. Yes, it's my holiday polish for the holidays. Thank you. Thank you, Sue. I wanted to get sparkly for the holidays. Okay, so when you're finally ready, when you know your yes and no, you don't have one, there's a specific crystal, you can use whatever resonates with you, Gina, to be very, very honest with you. Like I said, my original one I made with just a glass bead and a purple silk string. I got at Michael's, right? So this is the one that I originally created years ago. And I'm talking, I will date myself, but it's probably over 15 or 16 years old, this one, and it's been in my drawer for a long time. But I also have a rose quartz one, right? I have a rose quartz one that I got at a metaphysical shop. And I also have a amethyst one, right? And I feel like maybe I got one as a gift, but because I don't usually just buy myself things, sometimes, especially if I already have one. And so it really just, one that resonates with you. It can be any kind of crystal. It can be whatever you want. And until you feel like I'm ready to go out and buy one, again, put a paper clip on a piece of string and hold it up. Or find a necklace that has a bead or one of those little drop necklaces. You can use that as well. Honestly, as long as you clear the energy around it, and this is my intention, show it to me. People used to use their wedding ring. I'm not married anymore, so I don't have one. But they would tie a wedding ring to it and ask questions that way too. So you can use just about anything. A pendulum, the definition is just a weight on the end of a string. Seriously, that's all it is. So when you are ready, when you know your yes, when you know your no, okay? And I'm going to preface, you can use other questions outside of yes or no, but for the very beginning, if you're just starting out, try yes or no. So to practice, right, to get your subconscious and sort of just to get your pendulum in the groove, you can ask it questions that you already know the answer to, right? So it would be like, okay, and like I said, I usually start it in a circle and then I just ask the question. It's that inertia. I just sort of like the inertia instead of it starting from a dead stop. So I would say, I am a female. I'm a female. There it goes. See? Yes. Yep. I'm a female, right? My brother lives in New York State, right? And it's going to go, yep, I know the answer to that, right? But you can, then once you do that, then you can start asking it questions that are easy for you to find out, right? Again, we're getting practice, right? Because eventually you want to make sure that when you ask the question, you trust the answer. So this is why we're doing what we're doing, to practice with it by asking it questions you already know the answer to. And then you can say, okay, like you can ask it questions that are really easy to look up, but you don't actually know the answer to. So it would be like, did my birthday fall on a Thursday 4 years ago? Right? And if you really want to do the math, you could probably figure out. But you could also just look at a calendar once it shows you yes or no. So you can ask it simple questions that you maybe don't remember, right? Or you can say, in my high school senior photo, did I wear purple? If you don't remember, right? That's what it's just sort of, you can ask it questions that you would have to go look it up for, but you can actually validate the response. Because once you do that, you're going to actually trust it more and more and go, oh my God, this is like amazing. Okay. Then you're ready to ask it some questions that you actually really do want to know. Once you start working with it more and more often, you want to ask it for those important questions, right? You don't want to ask it frivolous questions that you already know the answer to. Again, when you're just getting started, it's fine. But as you start getting more and more attuned to it, it's going to want to give you the messages that you need to hear because it's your subconscious talking, right? I also use mine, and I'll ask my spirit guides as well. So sometimes I want a message, and it's not necessarily something I know the answer to, and I will use it to ask my spirit guides. But you can use your pendulum to find out if vitamins, like if the right vitamin, if this is going to be beneficial, you can put it over the vitamin jar. You can even like say, okay, I know that I need iron, but do I need 1 pill or 2 pills? Right? You can ask it questions and your subconscious is going to come. You can ask questions for other people. Yes, you can. Like I said, I ask my spirit guide sometimes, especially if it's something I don't know that, like I personally don't know the answer to, but because I'm very intuitive, they kind of come in, but I will definitely direct it towards them if it's a question that I wouldn't know the answer to. You can also, a great thing to use pendulums for, finding lost stuff. I can't tell you how many things I've found because I've used the pendulum. It's stuff that's been lost for like a long time. And I'll be like, okay, where is, my daughter will be like, Mom, I lost this, like it was a fidget spinner. I think the last time I used this to find something was a fidget spinner. And fidget spinners have been around for a while, but this was a year, maybe two years ago. And she lost it. I didn't lose it, but she was like, I don't know where it is. And so I just asked, I was like, okay, is it on the first floor? Is it on the second floor? Is it in this room? Is it in this room? Right? And I whittled it down to it was in the kitchen, and it literally was underneath a stack of papers, right? But I would never have and it wasn't at my house, it was at my ex-husband's house. But I I was like, it's right here. And they were like, how did you find that? And I was like, because I asked. Really? So yeah, but because it wasn't me who lost it, right? I kind of had to say, hey, spirit guides, can you help me figure this out, right? Whereas if I lost it and said, damn it, I don't know where the hell I put my car keys. Did I leave them upstairs? Did I leave them in the car? Did I leave them, right? That's your subconscious is going to know. They're going to remember, right? The other useful thing that you can use pendulums for, aside from sort of food, right? When you have food intolerances, finding out whether or not it's going to react well with you. But it's also when you're working on like clearing out the crap that you're carrying around with you, right? You can use a drawing of like the chakra system, right? Or of a body, or you can just sort of imagine like and see, okay, is my throat chakra blocked? And then if it says yes, okay, how is it blocked? Is it blocked because of this belief or that belief or what? St. Anthony is great for lost items too. Yes, St. Anthony is good as well. I just don't happen to have one of him. I wasn't Catholic, so I didn't grow up super close to St. Anthony, but yes, I do know of him, if that makes sense. But anyways, so you can use it for finding where your blocks are. And does this sit in this lifetime or another lifetime? Does this belief sit with inner child? Is it a societal wound, right? You can actually test this and figure out where your blocks are, right? And then when you start rewriting your stories, is this story for my highest and greatest good? Do I believe this yet? Or am I still stuck, right? You can use it in so many different ways. Again, health, wellness. You can use it on your affirmations and like, do I need to rewrite this affirmation? Do I believe this affirmation yet? Or do I still have some work I need to do to clear out the belief that's like preventing me from being successful? You can do that. I was trying to think of what else. Yeah, so the other thing that you want to be very cautious about too is not asking your pendulum questions that you can't know the answer to, right? Because like here's the thing, you can ask about the future in a very sort of, and I want to say kind of generic way, because we all have free will. And so when we make choices, it changes our future. Every choice we make changes our future. And that's why some people get really unhappy when like a fortune teller and they're like, I went to this fortune teller and I asked her and she told me I was going to meet the man of my dreams in 6 months, right? Well, some of the choices you made within those 6 months, maybe you didn't align with the person you were going to meet had you made different choices, right? So it's all about free will. So I just want to remind you that sometimes if we asked, especially for too far in the future, it's sometimes not quite reliable because, again, we all get to make the choices that we make every day. And how that affects our future is literally minute by minute. It's that butterfly effect. It's just like one thing changes everything. So just be mindful. I mean, I have used it to ask questions about, when I was going through my divorce, I was like, okay, am I going to be able to find a home that I can live in that will be affordable, that's in my price range? So I asked very sort of specific questions that was more related to sort of things I could control, right? Versus, am I going to meet a millionaire? Am I going to meet my sugar daddy who's going to take care of me, in the next year, right? And it may have an answer for you, but it seems a little wishy-washy. So just be very conscious about sort of, how you want to use it. But it's really an amazing, powerful tool. I also want to point out that if you get beyond asking yes or no questions, you can create a grid. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, because like I said, I was going to do it on my computer. But you can create kind of like a little grid like this, right? Where it's a half a circle, right? And you can split it into different sections, right? And say, choice 1 through 5, right? And and this will work too, especially if you're blocked on something and you're like, okay, am I still believing the fact that I'm not worthy enough? I'm not whatever your beliefs are, you can use it for that. I use it for pricing for my business. Like, okay, how much is the best price for myself and my customers, right? So I try and I ask Spirit, I'm like, okay, what is the best price for this particular offering? And they will tell me. And I use that model where it can go into any of those different like pockets. And you'll be surprised at some of the answers that you get. But if you get tired, I use this for when I lose things too, because I can put upstairs, downstairs, bedroom, whatever. And then I don't have to sit there and ask it 200 questions. I have a whiteboard somewhere, and I use the whiteboard, or you can use if you have a picture frame, like that, you can put a white piece of paper in a picture frame and use that glass with a dry erase marker to use it as well, because I don't like wasting paper if I don't have to. So you can use that as well. It's really easy. But you can kind of have fun with it, right? If you're wanting to practice, you can use playing cards, right? You can pick 5 cards, look at them, and pick one face card, like the queen, all right? And put the rest of them down, shuffle them up, put them on the ground, or put them on a table, and use your pendulum to ask which one is the queen. And when it says yes, you pick it up and go, oh, look, there's the queen, right? It's just a really cool tool. You can also play with your friend and be like, it's sort of like, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10, and you have to say no. And you're holding your pendulum, right? And they're going to say, is your number 1? And you're going to go no. Even if it was number 1, you're going to say no. And the pendulum will swing. It'll change direction for the one that you're lying about. So it's just kind of fun. Like, you can play with your friends and sort of get a little freaky. I'm not sure if this was mentioned, but my pendulum told me the sex of both my grandchildren correctly. Yes, I do preface that. Yes, that's amazing. Sometimes, though, what we want overrides what it is. So I just urge you to be very cautious. So because it was your grandchildren and not necessarily your children, you didn't necessarily have a preference on whether it was a boy or a girl, whereas some people are like, it's a boy because I want a boy. I know it's a boy, and then it's not a boy. So I like to preface it. Sometimes when you're very emotional to the answer, have someone else maybe who has a pendulum ask for you, and that'll give you a less emotional response, because you can absolutely override if you're thinking yes, it will override the fact that your pendulum's like, fuck no, that's not happening. But in your mind, you're just going yes. And because that's the energy, right? Everything is energy, everybody, energy and vibration. And that's the energy that you will stick to it, and it will show you yes, even though it means no. It can be on a stand. I prefer to hold it just because, I don't know, I like having my energy on it, but you can absolutely use a stand. I don't see why not. But yes, so Kelly, yeah, you have to really come from a neutral standpoint. And so even if I am emotional about a response, I will always sort of set my ego aside and say, okay, and try not to, I really do very consciously say, from a neutral standpoint, what is the answer for my highest and greatest good, right? I really do try and come from a very neutral standpoint whenever I ask. Because again, some of the stuff I ask it's, okay, well, should I really invest in this class? Should I invest in this? Is this going to be for my highest and greatest good? Is spending thousands of dollars on my website a good idea, right? It's that kind of stuff that I will sit and go, I don't know, right? Because investing in me is sometimes the hardest choice to make. Truly. I am very good at investing in other things for my children and stuff like that. And I just realized I think I didn't turn my volume off. So I apologize if this phone has been buzzing with messages and I didn't notice. So your hand shake. Yeah, your hand. And that is why it's really important to put your elbow on something as well. But Tina, you can absolutely use a stand if that's going to work for you. I've never tried it. I will be honest. I've never tried it with a stand. But again, I've just been using it for a long time, and
I just rest it in between my fingers like that, and I just sort of allow it.
Okay, good. You didn't hear any buzzing. Okay, that's great. So does anybody have any questions? Because I covered a lot of stuff, and I think I answered most of the questions that people asked earlier. Like I said, I kind of just wrote down some notes so I wouldn't forget anything. But I am curious, does anybody have any other questions? Or how do you use your pendulum, right? Again, use dowsing rods for getting... Oh, yeah, so that's amazing. And that's what pendulums kind of started out. Like, people would ask and try and find, like, water on maps. Like, they'd hold it over areas on maps to find water, or different ore and things like that. Because these have been around for a really long time. I don't have the specific history, or I technically have a book about it, but I'm not a date person, so so while I love social studies and all that, has it ever been wrong? Sure, again, because we all have free will, so sometimes it can be wrong. Can you get the names of I write the letters? I write the letter? Can you get names? If I write the letter, I will watch from the beginning. I don't know what you're asking, Georgette. Something about names of I write the letters. I don't know. For whatever reason, spirits start making me sing like Neil Diamond songs. I write the songs and make... No, I guess that's Barry Manilow. Anyways, sorry. Random. Can you get names if I write the letters? Probably. Yeah, probably. But it's really about practice, everybody. So this is why I say I recommend that you practice using answers that you already know, right? Or asking it questions that you know you can go and validate, because that's going to trust, right? But again, you have to come from a neutral standpoint. So if you are putting too much energy into it from a emotional standpoint of saying, I really want this baby to be a girl, damn it. And it shows you that it's a girl and it comes out a boy, and then you're like, it was wrong, it was hooey. No, you just really wanted a girl. So this is why I just urge you to be a little bit cautious about the baby and the sex of the baby sometimes, because again, you can be very emotionally invested in it. Okay. So if you... okay. All right, cool. So yeah, so try it. I'm just curious. Use the alphabet written out for non-yes or no answers. Yeah. So it's kind of like the Ouija board, but don't use a Ouija board. But yeah, absolutely, you can do that. For non-yes or no. Again, I can't say I've written out the whole alphabet. I use this where I just can choose. I will pick. It's sort of a bunch of different choices. And then if that's not it, I use it more like a whiteboard, and I'll scratch it all off and I'll create a new one. But and there's printables. If you go to Pinterest and stuff, like there's ones that have all of these different choices for lots of different things already written out. It's kind of cool. It's like personality types, and I don't know. I've looked at them in the past. I haven't looked at them recently, but you can look on Pinterest for pendulum like maps and stuff like that you can use and download, and it's just a really cool tool. So if you guys have any other questions, please let me know. I kind of had fun. I think I'm going to have to try and share some more sort of tools that we all have access to that are really easy to use to help us hone in on our intuition. But this is a really great way to hone in on your subconscious, finding lost things, using it for a health perspective. You wanted your grandson to move here, so the pendulum kept telling me yes by October, but that wasn't how it worked out. Again, yeah, Kelly, yep, that exactly can happen. How do you know the choices you wrote is not one of the answers? How do you know if the choices you wrote is not one of the answers? Well, because it will it may keep circling. So if you have a bunch of choices on there, it will swing in that direction, in that way. So that's why it's a half, right? Because obviously the pendulum moves in that wide berth. So when you do this, the pendulum will swing like this way, right? For choice, whatever choice this is, because I can't read it. Right? But if it's not going to choose any of these, it will usually just circle around here. Like it'll just sort of keep going in a circle and not choose a direction to swing towards. That's how I figure that out. You're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry you're in a funk, Tina. I know. You know, it's been a very crazy week, right? We all know this. We had new moon. We have this giant portal. We have, what is it, Saturn and Jupiter that are lining up for like the Bethlehem Christmas star that's happening on Monday. Winter solstice is Monday. So we have a lot of celestial shit happening right now too. So, you know, it's really important that you take care of yourself, give yourself grace, allow yourself to rest, and be emotional, right? Because when we let this stuff come up, because right now it's a very powerful time to clear and release so that you can sort of get rid of the stuff that's going on with you so that you can move forward. And so when emotions, when things come up, especially when we get overtired, that's when those emotions bubble up too, because our resistance to sort of keeping that all at bay is lowered. We just don't have the energy to sort of bottle it all up sometimes. And so allowing it to come out, journal about what's coming up, is just helping you release it and to heal and move forward. So when you guys do get heavy emotions, allow it to come up, feel it, even those the negative emotions. When you get angry, it's okay to feel angry, right? We all know this, right? It's okay for you to feel angry. Is it okay for you to take it out on everyone around you? No. But it's not, it's okay for you to be upset or frustrated. Don't wallow in it forever, but feel it, recognize where it's coming from, and then you can let it go. You know, I mean, I woke up a couple weeks ago sad, and I could not figure out, because I'm not a sad person in general. Like, I don't wallow. I'm very kind of happy-go-lucky for the most part. And I was sad, and I didn't know why. And one was because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't sleeping enough, right? But also I realized that I was lonely, right? From a soul being in quarantine and not having my children around for that week, and it was just sort of the stress, and I was just lonely. I hadn't seen my best friends in a while because restaurants got closed, and so when I would normally go have a cocktail, we couldn't, right? Even socially distanced, we couldn't have a cocktail because everything was closed, and it's winter in Denver, right? And so I woke up and recognized that and went, okay, I need to sit with these emotions that's coming up and let them go and recognize them. And then I need to take some better care of myself. So I spent the whole day doing stuff that was just for me. I did some spiritual stuff. I meditated. I pulled my cards for 2021. I did like that. I took a bath with crystals and salt and you name it. I took a bath and I felt a lot better, right? But I did the work in order to allow it to come up so I could sit with it. I didn't ignore it, right? I'm also very good at ignoring emotions sometimes when I don't want to feel them, right? But I'm getting better at it, right? We all just need to get better at it. So Kayla, you got a pendulum a few weeks ago. Excellent. Yes. And here's the thing. I will say, when you first get your pendulum, you're going to ask it all sorts of things and it's super fun. And then you'll kind of put it down for a while and then you'll pick it up when you need it, right? So don't, you know, again, they're not super expensive. You can make your own if you're crafty and you like to do that. So just play around with it and see what comes up. Because again, I've kind of forgotten, not that I forgot, but this has been in my drawer for a really long time, this original one that I made. But I used to carry it with me. It was in my purse all the time. And I carried it with me and I would ask it all sorts of questions. And this was when I was trying to get pregnant with my kiddos. And so I asked it all sorts of questions. But it's still very dear to me, right? I still carry it around even though it's just a piece of glass, right? That's all it is. It's just a piece of glass. But I still keep it because it's 15 years old and I love it. So so again, you don't have to go out and buy something special. If you're like, you know what, a paperclip and a piece of string works for me, great. Use it, right? It doesn't need to be fancy. I have some fancy ones just because I upgraded, but again, my favorite is still the glass one. So anyhow, all right, I think I answered everybody's question. Pendulums are an excellent, yes, Kelly. All right, good. Would your mother, yes, Valerie, absolutely. You can use, I said this earlier, you can use, people used to use wedding rings all the time. People use all sorts of things. This used to be a tool to find water and ore and things like that on a map. So yeah, absolutely. Hello, Mary. You can even use a fan pull string. Absolutely. Yes. You can use whatever you have around. Let me upgrade you. Yes. Seriously, you can use whatever a necklace. Again, one of those necklaces that has a drop pendant or whatever, those work great too, right? Just use the little drop pendant and work on it. But it's amazing. You can get so much information from it. And if you're struggling and you just don't know like what's going on, you can ask it questions. You can ask which chakra is blocked. You can figure out why it's blocked. You can write your goals and dreams and be like, okay, what's my next best thing that I should be working on right now? If you're over prioritized, you have too many things on your to-do list, you can ask it and be like, which one is going to be for my highest and greatest good to do first, right? You can ask and figure that out. You can use it for food intolerances. You can use it for vitamins, finding out if this vitamin is going to be good for you. Or if you already know that that vitamin is good for you, what dose of that vitamin is good for you, for your highest and greatest good. You can use it in a wealth of ways, finding lost stuff. Again, really great tools. So thank you for watching. I love you guys all very much.